Hey there, Truth Seeker. Welcome to our channel and community where we focus on developing the knowledge, understanding, and wisdom to accelerate your ascension into the fifth dimension and beyond. This is Season 2, Episode 2. For those returning, welcome back, and a massive hello to our new subscribers and listeners. We appreciate you. My name is David Keratin. I am a 13-sign astrologer, indigo warrior, and EDM DJ. Feel free to check out our playlist linked below. My partner, Sanne and I work together with 13-sign astrology. Today, we will both narrate this fascinating reading. For disclosure, we subscribe to the Astro app platform. Before we go further, what can you expect from today's reading and what is our channel about? Our guiding principle is that the beginning of wisdom is to know thyself. To contribute to this, we explore and interpret the 13-sign astrology system that includes the constellation of Ophiuchus, the archetype of the divine feminine in the Age of Awakening. In the night sky, the southern part of Ophiuchus sits between Scorpius to the west and Sagittarius to the east. Known as the Snake Bearer and Golden Eagle, Ophiuchus is located opposite Orion, the home of Saturn. This reading is about the Capricorn Supermoon occurring on Sunday, January 22nd, 2023 at 9:53 a.m. New Zealand Daylight Time, where we are located. For those in the United States, this equates to 3:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time the day before. With mysterious, deep, regenerative Pluto forming a cozy conjunction, we begin a brand new 28-day lunar cycle. New moons are a perfect opportunity to set an intention to act. You will optimize this process by focusing on specific tasks that align with your passion and purpose. When new moons fall in an earth sign, it makes sense to be realistic, grounded, and practical. This is a busy moon cycle with the asteroids Vesta, Juno, Ceres and Pallas Athena playing a leading role. Supporting them are the planets Mercury, Uranus, Mars, Neptune, Saturn and Jupiter. Sanne and I like engaging with the asteroid energies because, by nature, they are refined, dynamic and progressive. As archetypes, they are higher dimensional, symbolizing the expansion of our consciousness. While not all asteroids are divine feminine in nature, Vesta, Juno, Ceres and Pallas Athena most definitely are. At this new moon, Pluto generates significant emotional, creative and psychic energy we can draw on. Pluto symbolizes that a period of regenesis has arrived, specific to our ideas about material wealth and those entities we pay to provide for our needs. Which leads us to the Mother Earth archetype, Ceres. While in Virgo, she requires that we examine in detail how we nourish ourselves and support others. Virgo Ceres is the bookkeeper, forensic accountant, auditor and sustainability manager, keeping a close eye on our waste management practices and our behaviour towards Mother Gaia. Mars in Taurus is about action. Capricorn is Saturn's home sign. Saturn is the archetype of mastery, structure, lessons and limitations. He represents the so-called tests of time and rites of passage we all endure. He presides over rules like contraction and expansion in the economy. Saturn is a taskmaster, widely acknowledged as the Lord of Karma. Saturn energies, allegories, stories and myth refer to cause and effect. The Saturn moral is that we reap what we sow, that there are consequences for all that we say, think and do. Capricorn, as the third and final earth sign, represents the end of a collective and individuated development process that begins in Taurus with our physical resources, before moving into Virgo, where we learn to carefully apply those resources to our work, concluding in the sign of the goat. Capricorn, therefore, represents the peak of our efforts in terms of managing the material realm from soup to nuts. Working alongside Ceres in Virgo is Mars transit through Taurus. When here, Mars brings attention to how we utilize our supply chain. With him forming a beneficial, easygoing trine to the new moon, the message is that courageous and positive plans involving your resources are strongly supported. This is not a time to hide or hoard what you have available. With these factors in mind, Capricorn requires that we reflect, evaluate, and analyze what we have done in terms of physical manifestation through a given cycle. For simplicity, let's call this a growth and contraction cycle coming to a head. When we consider our soul journey through the 3 earth signs and how to interpret this, we start with Taurus, which for us represents the primary resources available through a combination of past life accumulation or karma. Resources are also those inherent and learned skills that we possess. Of course, there are also material resources, which for many means money, goodwill, access to credit, and ongoing income. Together, these are our inventory that we draw on as inputs in the production line of sustaining and maintaining the physical experience, both for ourselves and others. To understand natural law or cause and effect in the context of a Capricorn new moon conjunct to Pluto, with Ceres in Virgo and Mars in Taurus, we must comprehend what is meant by the circular nature of material accumulation from beginning to end. Cause and effect could also be called the ripple. You can see this with Newton's balls or a slinky. Energy ripples out, only to return to the point of origination, back and forth, side to side. When Sanne and I talk about the earth element, we imagine Taurus as the rough diamond, Virgo as the jeweler who crafts, hones and polishes the gem, and Capricorn as the marketplace where we display our finished product. Mars would be the miner, Ceres the artisan, and Capricorn where we trade. Capricorn, however, is also a trap. It is hard to let go of that which we have put considerable energy into to deconstruct what we have built. The tarot card aligned to Capricorn is the Devil, the 15th arcana, rich in symbolism and allegory. The numbers are instructive. 1 represents initiation, 5 expansion, and 6 nurture and well-being. 1 could be Mars, 5 Jupiter, and 6 Virgo, if you like. Jupiter is opposite Ceres at this new moon, suggesting the expansion of our Earth-Mother connection is paramount. Ceres in Virgo forms a trine with the new moon in Capricorn and Mars in Taurus, linking all 3 Earth signs. The focal point is therefore resource management and utilization, the supply chain, within the context of time. Returning to the Devil Tarot, we see the ancient goat god Dionysus sitting on a throne while watching over a male and female captive. Dionysus in Greek mythology is the god of winemaking, orchards, fruit and vegetation. He is also the god of theatre, madness and insanity. Excessive food and wine can be unsettling to our sensibilities. If we look closely, both individuals featured in the Devil card have chains loosely binding their necks, inferring that they are free to leave at any time. Each character has horns growing from their head, revealing that they are becoming more like their captor. The male figure's tail is on fire, representing burning desire. The female's tail is either a bunch of grapes in a nod to Dionysus or, in some depictions, a pomegranate, symbolizing life and fertility. the domain of Ceres. The overall meaning of the Devil Tarot and Capricorn is that humanity, when seduced by the material world, becomes fixated on consumerism. Now we will hear from Sanne.
The way out of the Capricorn illusion is to recognize the role of Pluto. She represents independence, freedom, and reclamation of our power, given away to corporate structures that provide for us. Pluto conjunct the new moon is the tipping point for Capricorn authority. She reminds us that the current material cycle has concluded, having reached a point of no return. Among the other players at the supermoon are the asteroids. Juno is the archetype of committed relationships, soulmate unions, and twin flames. With her conjunct Jupiter opposite Ceres, there is a message for awakening and awakened couples alike. Think carefully about your collective use and management of resources. Where two minds are aligned, the power to effect change amplifies. Vesta also has an important role. In the Greek pantheon, she was the goddess of fire, hearth, and home. Vesta kept watch over the sacred primordial fire that burned in each city to protect it from strife. Within astrology, Vesta is a divine representation of our inner flame and relationship with source consciousness. When connecting through personal ceremonies or rituals, we ignite our light. Through Vesta, we unlock our divine design. With Vesta conjunct Neptune, extraordinary, exquisite, and highly existential experiences are available for those willing to dedicate the time. When we tap into our inner world, we access unlimited wells of creativity and artistic expression that help us transcend the Capricorn illusion. As Vesta and Neptune converge, it is possible to engage with the causal plane. Playing an equally important role is Mercury. He is the archetype of the intellectual mind, commerce, and communication on the mundane level. Mercury is central to the supermoon through his trine to Uranus, providing access to her third eye energies. His square to Ceres means that data and information are readily available to help us with sustainability. Pallas Athena and Mercury combined provide a strategic view. Identified in Roman times as Minerva, Pallas travelled everywhere with her pet owl and the goddess of victory, Nike. For the Romans, Minerva presided over justice and law. She was also the sponsor of the arts and trade. Minerva, or Pallas Athena in Greece, was the patron of music, poetry, medicine, and crafts. She was highly revered, honored, and respected. Mercury opposite Athena gives intellectual rigor, helping us build momentum. As we conclude, let us reflect. The 13-sign astrological system contains puzzle pieces that help us interpret individual and collective experiences. 13-sign astrology is ancient knowledge kept secret to all but the insiders who have used it for themselves. These insights, applied to your life, can have profound impacts on how you perceive and interpret your reason for being. For those of us contemplating and considering what creative contribution we can make as the third dimension collapses, now is the time to go inwards in mindfulness and meditation to clarify your ideas. We know we are swimming against the tide of popular astrological opinion. However, this is how we develop character, strength, and resilience. The theme of this new moon is resource management. We shared a story earlier about the gem, the jeweler, and the marketplace. Taurus is our rough diamond energy. Ceres and Virgo is our inner artisan, while Capricorn is the wide world of commerce and trade with which we must interact. Mars gives us a kickstart. Pallas Athena, strategic insights and wisdom. Mercury is our data center. Uranus activates our third eye. Vesta reminds us to access our inner fire and wells of creation. Jupiter asks us to expand, while Pluto promises regenesis, a complete overhaul of Saturnian structures reaching their limitations. There is so much happening astrologically in 2023. Huge events include Neptune entering Pisces, Saturn into Aquarius, and Pluto into Capricorn, concluding a synodic cycle of more than 200 years. We are blessed to be part of Gaia's great ascension. There is no time like the present. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. You will also find us on Facebook at David Garrison. Namaste. This has been a production of Star Kittens Media. All rights are reserved.